Hey, New York Jet fans from all around the world. Welcome to Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast.
Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast.
To Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast.
At Laugh Through the Turbulence, John Lovitz here.
The show that delivers you all your Jets content. Here are your hosts, John, Adden, and Monty. All the best to the New York Jet fans. J-E-T-S, Jets, 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 go Jets.
Yeah. It was great. I realized I put the one without the names below it. You know, thank you, Fireman Ed, Lisa Ann,
John Lovitz,
Jeff Lowe, and John Lovitz. Yeah. Jeff Lowe, if you didn't know, was on the Tiger King. He was the one that screwed over what's his face?
The Tiger King.
Yeah, but he's the one that was having the threesomes with his wife and just for bringing baby tigers. Like, bitch, I know you like this. No, let's have an orgy.
Anyway, yeah, man, let's talk about this terrible ass game because this was awful.
Yeah, I almost want to share a clip of me during the game, but I'll wait for one of you guys to respond first.
Yeah.
So what your thoughts were of this game?
Adnan, you had a lot to say.
You're Charlie Day. Go for it.
Yeah, I think this game it was a carbon copy of the Denver game almost. It was a carbon copy of almost every game we saw last year. And the frustrating thing, even more so, is that the offense looks awful, but the defense is coming around, right? And I saw a stat today that showed last year and this year through 5 games, the Jets have scored the exact same amount of points.
93 points.
93 points.
The same record, too.
Exactly. The common denominator is Hackett,
and
right?
Salah.
And now you're having, people outside that, like Dan Orlovsky talking about how simplistic and uncreative the offense is. How the Jets offense doesn't do anything. They don't motion, or if it is, it's very short motion. They don't do anything that makes a defense think.
Oh, you mean the same stuff we've been talking about on this show for like months now and pointing
January.
out about Hackett? Yeah.
We've been saying the same thing since January, right? And again, I'll say this to anybody who believes this. If you think that this offense is the offense that LaFleur ran in Green Bay, you don't know ball. You don't know what you're talking about. If you watch those two teams play, the offenses, they're playing different sports. And the problem to me with that loss is not only was it awful, game planning wise, but just the mistakes, man. The same thing. Missed assignments, bad run blocking, bad pass blocking, receivers dropping balls. And the one quote unquote bright spot, Garrett Wilson's day, it was the most inefficient day a receiver has ever had. He had 109 or 103 yards on 21 targets. That's
22.
22, whatever it is. That's
even worse.
That's the least amount of yards on that many targets since these stats have been kept. So yeah, okay, you're feeding him the ball. It doesn't matter if he's getting 7 yards here or 6. It's not doing anything, right? And I think that this is what we're going to run into all season, even if they trade for Devontae Adams. Even if they trade for him, he can't scheme the offense. And it's something that we've been saying, look, will this team be good? I think they get it turned around. I think they're going to end up making the playoffs. And I think once they get in the playoffs, anything can happen, right? So I think everything that they want is still in front of them. If you ask any head coach going into a season, what's the number one thing you want to accomplish to get to where you want to be? It's win your division. The Bills haven't run away with the division. The Jets win a week from tonight, and it's a completely different story, right? But my concern is what has been, Monty and I have spoken to this since January. How can you trust Hackett to out-scheme and out-prepare and out-coach Spags or a John Harbaugh team?
The Harbaugh brothers.
All of these teams.
McVay, even McDaniels. Can't even out-scheme McDaniels.
Right, but I mean, even so, like talking about just in the playoffs, right? You're going to have to go against these defensive coaches that are going to eat your lunch, right? They're going to eat your lunch just like Brian Flores did. He blitzed, right? That pick six was something the Jets don't do on defense. Simulated pressure. Van Ginkel dropped out at the last second, right into Aaron Rodgers' throwing lane, picked it, took it to the house, right? Those are the things these dynamic defensive coordinators are going to do that Hackett is not going to be able to adjust to, right? So with Hackett, there is a ceiling for this team. And, if they lose to Buffalo, they have to go to Downing as their offensive coordinator. You cannot keep this shit show up with a guy that just doesn't know what he's doing. There's too much talent on this team, especially if you trade for Devontae Adams, to waste on this offensive coordinator. So I think there is a lot for them to look forward to, and I think they can have an excellent season still. But man, it's going to be tough in the playoffs when you're playing at Kansas City and Hackett is trying to match wits with Spags. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, man. Indeed, man. I mean, I guess I'm gonna try to look at some of the bright side here. I mean, the good points are the rest of the division isn't really looking great. Dolphins look like shit, even though they won. Buffalo just lost. And the division's still up for grabs. Like, you can't name me 7 teams that are definitely better than the Jets in the AFC right now. I don't think you can. That you 100% think would make the playoffs or deserve to be in the playoffs over us at this point in the season. So as long as that remains true, there's still a little glimmer of hope for us, as far as getting into the playoffs. I think still and again, and this is important because this was supposed to be a Super Bowl team. I think the fact that I think us being a Super Bowl team, that ship is long sailed. I don't think that's a reality, at this point for this organization with this coaching staff and this setup. No. So, the other good parts are, you kind of mentioned it. Garrett Wilson had a really good game. I talked to you guys last week about Garrett Wilson with his double move. He used it, roasted the shit out of the quarterback that was guarding him at the time. I don't know if it was Gilmore or not. I don't think so. But roasted the shit out of him, and Rodgers throws the ball out of bounds. That could have been the game for us. That could have been that could have been game for us, but it didn't happen. But back to the good stuff. We actually made Darnold struggle for the first time. Mm-hmm. We held the Vikings to 175 yards passing, 82 yards rushing. And this game was their lowest passer rating of the year, and it was 50% lower of a passer rating than any other game they played thus far. This was their lowest passing and rushing totals of the year, all year so far through 5 games. And we held them to the exact same score as when they played the 49ers. And the 49ers had most of their squad other than Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, that is a big loss for them. But, we had no Hassan Reddick too, and we're not using
No
Malachi
Jermaine.
Corley and no Jermaine for some reason. So, it's not like we are 100%.
Jermaine's the obvious
either.
one. He tore his ACL.
But I'm just saying, just in general, we weren't, 100,000% either. So
no Mosley, no Michael Carter, except for one snap, and Sauce went out for a bit too.
Yeah, good point about Mosley, because I didn't remember him real quick, just because Quincy has just been playing so friggin' good. But yeah, so there is some good stuff there, but that's pretty much where it ends. And honestly, even though the defense was solid, they just don't. They seem to play generally good. They don't show up like if there was a clutch percentage on this defense, it would be like 2% or something, 10% maybe, because they show up at just these weird random times. It's not like fourth and 2 and and they're going for it because they're trying to close the game out or whatever, and they're up by 4, so it's worth it for them to try rather than kick the field, whatever the case may be. That's not where we show up. When it comes to forcing turnovers, all these must have kind of turnover situations, like we're weak on that. So digging into what went wrong, I mean, number one, obviously this was a coaching win for the Vikings. They were able to kind of come out with their game plan on defense, even though offense didn't necessarily go the way they wanted to. Their defense, we played right into their hand, couldn't get the ball going on the ground. The Jets in general are starting slow in every game with a bad opening script. The same run, pass, Hackett bullshit. We were bad in the first half against Tennessee, bad in the first half against the Vikings. And, obviously the Broncos game was kind of a slop fest too. We had poor run blocking, couldn't even run the ball on 3rd and 2. We have 14 carries for 36 yards. That's insane. I don't know what the fuck we're doing there. All right. And then Rodgers looked like, I can't even tell a time where Rodgers looked this bad. 3 picks, including a pick 6 that looked like Zach Wilson fucking threw it right to Van Ginkel, like he was on the team.
He made a good play.
Nah, man, it was in good position because he had good coaching. Position.
Yeah, he came back. It was a nice blitz. It was a nice
good position. And then on top of that, we got fucking Lazard, 4 drops, including a TD pass dropped in the end zone. 7 drops in 5 games for this fucking guy. And the crazy part is he's the only guy that Aaron Rodgers trusts. He's the only guy clicking with Aaron Rodgers. It's all back asswards. We got Garrett Wilson, all the talent in the world, can't click with Rodgers. We got to force feed him 20 balls just to get him a decent game.
22 targets, 13 catches. Yeah,
there you go. 22 targets, even worse than 20. Lazard doesn't have the talent, but Rodgers trusts him. So hopefully this Devontae thing works out, because I think Devontae has the best of both worlds. He has the experience with Rodgers, and has his trust, and he clicks with him, but also he's actually good at football, unlike Lazard, who is just a big goof. And then Sauce, like, dropping fucking, oh my God.
That pick hurt. That would have been 6. That would have been,
dude, that would have been a pick 6 for sure.
I don't know about pick 6. He was in our end zone, dude.
Yeah, dude. Patrick Surtain, same situation.
Yeah, but that
runs it back 100 yards.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I do know about it because we had the same situation in the Dallas game last year. Hits Sauce right in the hands. He drops it again.
No one in front of him.
But listen. Either way, that takes a touchdown off the board for Minnesota. So whether it's a pick 6 or not is irrelevant. What's relevant is that it takes the only touchdown their offense scored off the board.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I will say this: Orlovsky kind of pointed out when we missed the 3rd down and then decided to go for it in field goal range. That was just not creative.
Yeah, it was not creative, and it was also like, in the moment though. Like, look, obviously you can go back in hindsight, do the calculations, the math. What could have happened. You look at the end result of the game, the final score, blah blah blah, and you can say, all right, that was a poor decision. At the time, I don't hate that decision. I hate that we can get to third and 2 and not convert the fucking ball. That's what I hate. Shit like that. Because we had one of those, and that was awful. And then, we have 54 throws for Rodgers, 22 for Garrett Wilson. We have Rodgers throwing the ball over 100 times in the rain in the past 2 games. Not sustainable. Because what does that lead to? 11 hits on the QB for Rodgers. He's getting slower. He's getting up slower and slower. The damage looks like it's accumulating on him. He's starting to look every bit of his 40-year-old age, and I'm scared. I am scared for this team because he can't last many more games like that. It's almost to the point. It was almost to the point that game where if they would have pulled Rodgers and put Tyrod in just because he's more mobile, I would have been okay with that. I actually would have been okay with that because maybe that mobility would have extended plays long enough for us to get something going. Like maybe a Breece Hall quick pass, some shit like that. I don't know, but it's not good. And then at the end of the game, what Salah's response? Too many third and longs and not enough short gains. Like, yeah, no shit. And then he's blaming the 2 defenses for being good. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, I don't want to hear it. Broncos are not good. Like, I don't care about their stupid fucking defense. Yes, they have a good defense. I don't care. They're not good. They're not going anywhere. They were a 5.5 Vegas projected win total team. All right.
Almost there, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Even if they double that up, I'm still not impressed by that team. I am not. That is not a team that's going to be anywhere deep in the playoffs, in my opinion. All right. I just haven't seen it yet. Okay. So for us to lose to that shouldn't have been okay. I think Salah's going to go somewhere and be the next Brian Flores. Some team where they want to turn their defensive identity around. They don't need his bullshit cheerleading as a head coach. He's useless as a head coach, but he's very talented as a defensive coordinator. I did have some stats I want to go over with you guys real quick. Rodgers is now 27 straight games without a 300-yard passing performance, so that's something to watch. The Jets are one of 2 teams. I don't know the other one because I just kind of heard this stat, but apparently one of 2 teams that have yet to score on their opening possession all year. There's only 2 teams in the league at this point. Jets are 5th in penalty yards and 6th in total penalties. We had 8 penalties for 76 yesterday. I'm sorry, day before. Oh no. Yeah,
it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
It was such a long day. Dude, you're like, what the hell's going on?
It actually, it's funny. It was the longest day of football ever, too.
Yeah. Yeah, because that Sunday night game went until 1 a.m.
Exhausting, bro.
Yeah, it was too much.
It was fucking exhausting. Holy shit. By the time the 11th, I was at Maddie's house watching the games like from the beginning, and he has like an outdoor TV, and I'll show a clip of me there just in frustration. But yeah, that was a lot of football, dude.
Yeah. Let me just So and then the last couple of things here. Jets are now top 5 in drops, top 5 in pre-snap penalties, bottom 5 in motion use, bottom 5 in play action use. And another one I saw was 16 of so we've scored 26 points in our last 8 quarters of football. All right. So 16 of those points have come off of turnovers or special teams plays that put us in positive yard situations. So we've only scored 10 points in the last 2 games of football where we actually drove the fucking ball and scored. That is abysmal. That is terrible. It's unsustainable. It can't happen. I don't care how good the defense is. It's not going to freaking work. So, just summing up everything of where we're at, we got no run game, not getting separation, no motion or horizontal spacing, no play action. So defenses can just kind of sit back, chill, and just either blitz all day long and then we make mistakes, or they don't even have to do that. They can just sit back and wait for drops and penalties. Because God knows they're going to get a shit ton of those because for some reason the refs don't want to call shit for us. Not like we deserve it, though, because even if we do get that pass interference at the end there, who knows if we could even convert on that because we're not converting shit. We're not doing anything. It's just it's depressing. Todd Downing was 12-5 in his last year as an offensive coordinator. Maybe we do check him out.
Okay. I will share my reaction to going down 17-0. I fucking hate this so much.
Oh man.
These are the games that make you relapse. Did it just cut out?
It cut out.
Good, because my dad would probably be really disappointed. I didn't relapse. I've been sober 12 years, but it was one of those games where I was like, these are one of the days.
Strongly considering, yeah.
Yeah, it was that was really hard to watch in the beginning. Just because, the shit that you should have had corrected after last week offensively, right? Defensively, yeah, I think they're still, I mean, that's not even a fully ready offense with TJ Hawkinson, right? The D line, in my opinion, Quinnen had another game again. I will say that we were generating some decent pressure from McDonald and Clemens. That was kind of good to see.
4 sacks?
Yeah. But those two were leading the way in pressures. I think McDonald had 6 pressures. And then I think Clemens, I think it was 4, I think from him, maybe more. I could be wrong on that, but I saw it somewhere. And I was like, all right, that's encouraging at least. But, Quinnen's, I mean, I don't know. And, that should have been a game where, they're a little weak on the inside, right? So, and if he plays really well, that defense is lights out, right? Credit to DJ Reed, at least. He looks fucking phenomenal. He's going to be an all-pro this year at this pace. It was kind of shocking without Michael Carter. And actually, Sherwood had a really good game. People don't really he had a really, really good game, Sherwood.
And what's going to be really interesting, right, is
all right, you guys went on for 20 minutes. All right, come on up.
No, just adding to your point.
Add. What do you got?
It's going to be interesting when Mosley comes back and you play those 3 linebackers. They're going to be really good.
His name is Adnan.
I will say the run defense looks a little bit better. The tackling was much better today, and actually it was their best tackling day. So hence the run was pretty good, right? Then I will say this though, in the second half, I actually kind of believe they had a fucking shot.
They did. This was a winnable game.
It was a winnable game.
It's the worst part.
Usually 17-0, we have no shot, right? And my reaction in that video felt like we had no shot, but then all of a sudden, I was even like, fuck, let's see what the parlay can kick up, right? And actually, it almost fucking hit, dude. I swear to God, it almost fucking hit. I had the Jets, the over at that time, which was 43.5. I had a Garrett Wilson touchdown. It was like 17-0. And I had a Mike Williams touchdown. And that could have fucking hit, and we could have paid for marketing for the rest of the year. But it was just obviously I was gonna keep the money myself and just blow it on something stupid. But yeah, I will say this about Rod, the run game. It's this is supposed to be a run first team, right? And that's not happening. The run game is way too predictable.
It's non-existent.
It's non-existent right now, and Rodgers has to air the ball out as much as he does, which is fucking unsustainable, right? And the thing that's crazy about it is he's getting banged up, and sometimes when he's banged up, he doesn't really step into the throw appropriately, mechanically, right? And then you have those oopsie daisy moments, like not so much the first pick. The first pick, the guy made a fucking play, and fooled Rodgers, which is very rare, very rare. The second throw to Lazard, he overthrew it. And I think it was his next pass too. And then I don't know what happened on the Mike Williams throw. That was just really short. That was really short. I've never seen that. Maybe he heals up a little bit. I know he has a high ankle sprain. He's on the injury report. Crazy as it sounds, they win this game coming up against the Bills. They actually are in the lead for the division, which is just fucking nuts.
That's absurd. It's just the state of football this year. It's a little bit all over the place, but
they need to figure out how to fucking run the ball. They really do. They really need to figure out how to run the fucking ball at this point. I don't know what. Maybe no Moses. I don't know, because Fashanu is not looking that great.
Definitely not on the run blocking. He's not terrible pass blocking, but his run blocking is not there.
It's not there. And Moses was there for that. Maybe that's something.
I definitely think we're feeling the loss of Moses, especially on the run game. And then you add to that we faced 2 tough defenses.
Really good defenses, yeah.
But still, you got to get to, 14 for 36. That ain't happening. That ain't getting it done. I don't care how good the defense is.
Yeah, right now, just per PFF, fuck it. Why not? Broncos are considered the number 4 defense. Mm-hmm. And Vikings are considered basically 10, right at the 10 mark, but 11. Mm-hmm. So like they're good defenses. They blitz a lot. Both of them do. At least the Jets were pressuring. I mean, I think it was 42% of dropbacks. There was pressure. I think that's where I saw, which would be considered league high, essentially, because I think the Broncos had the highest pressure rate through week 2, and that was like 44.5%. So that's a good pressure rate, even with Quinnen not really doing much or getting just bottled up there, right? Although he did make a couple plays, but he's not the game wrecker right now, and it's really hurting. It's hurting. I don't know. I guess maybe also with Mosley coming back, maybe there's some wisdom that gets back in there, in terms of just recognizing offense, maybe, even though Quincy is right now the better athlete back there, but I don't know. It's just very strange. And also just not having Sauce and Michael Carter for the whole game basically wasn't there, right? And Sauce was limited, right? Oh, in and out with that concussion because he just crisscrossed, right? Great game planning by Minnesota. Minnesota, like that team's for real, I think, And it was still
well,
close.
I mean, it's the best. I mean, we're looking at the best coach team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I think so. Because right now it's not the Niners.
Their plans are just all coming to fruition. Like they played us perfectly. They knew what we didn't have. They basically took away Breece Hall and were like, all right, we dare Aaron Rodgers to try to beat us while we're spamming blitzes all day long at him. And it worked.
It worked. Crazy. It's crazy per PFF. San Francisco still rated the top team. And they're 2-3 also.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what to Monty's point, like the NFL, if you look at all of these teams, I mean the Bengals are 1-4. You have so many of these teams that you thought were going to be good. Jacksonville's a disaster. Cleveland's a disaster. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for the Jets. Excuse me. What's his name? Or was it Pittsburgh has lost 2 in a row? So there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, but I mean, then
Joe Flacco's back apparently. What?
Right? He lost that game, but 3 tutties.
Yeah, he was sick. That was sick.
He won't go away. He won't quit. I love to see it, man. I'm happy to see old man Flacco still slinging it.
Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I guess he's trying to come back.
Best playoff run we've ever seen. Best playoff run we've ever seen by a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we killed it.
I think it was 11-1 TD-INT ratio.
Yeah, something like that.
It was fucking nuts.
It was nuts, which is crazy. He had a hell of a year.
Yeah, I don't know. They got to figure out the run, and it's weird. Also, the one thing I saw that was very strange, like even though you abandoned the run, right? What happened to having Breece and Braylon Allen in at the same time? That worked really well at the end of the Titans game and amazingly well in the Patriot game. And
we haven't seen it since.
I don't know why. Like those are 2 very seriously dangerous threats if they have the ball.
They both can pass block.
They both can pass block. Yeah.
They both can pick up a blitz pretty competent.
Yeah, and you don't know what the hell what do you have to defend when both of them are in, right?
Right.
You don't. So like I don't understand why that's not being applied again. I thought I was like, "Oh my god, Hackett finally," And no.
This is what you have, right? With unqualified people or people that aren't good at their jobs, right?
They're not being good at their jobs. You can't say they're not qualified. They still got there, But
a lot of unqualified people get to where they get.
Yeah, failing upwards.
Yeah, he's failing upwards. It's nonsense. So, but the thing that you miss most with unqualified, untalented people is consistency, right? Because talented people, you get the same performance every time they're asked to perform, right? With Hackett, I mean, look, you got the game against the Patriots, which we thought was a turning point for this offense. Haven't been able to replicate it in 2 games since, right? And that's what now watch against Buffalo. He's going to come out. He's going to do something different. It's going to look great. And then the next 3 games, it's going to be back to the bullshit because that's what untalented people do. So it's going to be an interesting next few weeks. But, I mean, again, if they lose, if they look like garbage, you got to end this experiment. You got to.
Yeah. All right. Now, I think this is a good transition to go into the Quincy remarks.
Yeah.
I saw it in our chat. So I'm going to just share the clip from no, that's not how to share a clip. Share a screen. Let me do that. I'm still learning how to do this, people. All right, here we go. So this is the clip.
You guys were down 17-0 at one point. You guys battled back to the end. What does it say about this team?
I'm gonna be honest, man. People get tired of hearing the same. Taking accountability from the top to the bottom. That's the main thing, bro. That's all I got to say for real.
All right, let's talk about the fumble recovery. What happened there?
Just lost my battle, man. I gotta get that one to the end zone, bro. When my number get called, bro, that's it.
What's the mentality of this team right now?
Like I said, people gotta start taking accountability, bro. People get tired of hearing the same thing every week.
For you, what do you need to work on?
I'm tired of saying the same thing every week. For me, I need to start working on being a leader more. That's the main thing.
All right, thanks, Quincy. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you for having me.
He's pissed.
Yeah, he's pissed because we could have had that game. Also, you had to make a fucking trip to UK to lose. No.
Yeah, but I think what he's saying is much bigger than that, John.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
He's saying that there's no accountability anywhere from the top down. You know, you don't see any accountability, and I just. You know, and I guess my question is, and I'm genuinely asking because I don't know, I've never been a head coach. What is accountability when Tyron Smith has 2 penalties? What is accountability when Aaron Rodgers throws 3 interceptions? You know, what is accountability when Sauce has 3 penalties? Like, I just don't know. What do you want them to do? Bench these players? Scream at them on the sideline?
Maybe.
I mean, you know, and you're going to bench Aaron Rodgers. You're going to bench Tyron Smith. You're going to bench Sauce Gardner. You're going to bench, you know, Morgan Moses for penalties. Like, I just don't know. And again, I'm asking, how do you hold people accountable?
Maybe we need a little more of that. Maybe we need a little more of that. I mean, maybe a game like that, you got to be willing to take Rodgers out for a few plays, you know, especially since he was hurting anyway and he was getting banged the hell up. Maybe it doesn't hurt to let Tyrod come in for a couple series and then, you know,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
You had a shot with him, man. You know, you still had a shot even at the end of the
That's what I'm saying.
But I guess that's my question though, is like, it's easy to say hold people accountable. But this team is built on veterans and young stars. So again, what are you going to do? You're going to, again, bench Sauce? Are you going to, you know, bench one of the starting offensive linemen? Who do you bring in then? Right? Fashanu isn't having a great game. Morgan Moses is hurt. Who do you Max Mitchell? Right? So I guess the point is, when you talk about accountability, what is that? Right? And we know how, you know, we know this breed of athlete and we know Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not going to take kindly to being called out in the media. He's not going to take kindly to being yelled at on the sidelines. Neither is Garrett. Neither is Sauce. Neither is Brees. Right? So, that's just my question. What is accountability, right? Because this isn't, I just don't see that a lot in the NFL. Like, the only person who does it is Mike Tomlin. And he's built up 20 years of equity. Mm-hmm. So I just don't know like what the answer is, I guess, in terms of accountability.
Yeah. It's probably like Rodgers and Mosley. And I guess Quinnen are the captains, right? And also Mustache Morstead, right? But really those 3, right? Maybe just like having a team meeting or some shit like that.
Or just going up in front of the team being like, hey, that loss was on, you know, me.
On leadership, including us, all of us.
You know what I mean? Like,
but Rodgers is still saying the right things in the press conference.
But that's the thing, right?
Yes and no. Like he did, but also like he's great at saying it when he's not the one responsible. Like this week,
he threw 3 picks.
That's what I'm saying. He was responsible this time around, and I mean, I guess he said a little bit, but He was a lot more vocal about accountability and responsibility when it wasn't his ass on the line.
I will say this, though. I'm just looking at the schedule going forward, right? There's still room. As crazy as it sounds.
No, dude,
Bills are down right now, although they're going to come firing, right? Steelers are starting to fall apart a little bit. Patriots are the Patriots.
Yeah.
I don't even think the Texans are that good.
Dude, I mean, I'm looking at, if you look at the AFC
Cardinals, though,
standings.
that looks tougher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're good. I mean, they're a young team. But, I mean, if I'm looking at the AFC standings right now, it's going to be 2 seconds to get it in front of me. So, if you look at it, right, Kansas City's 4-0 playing tonight. Houston's 4-1. Then teams 3 to 11 in the AFC are 3-2 or 2-3, right? The Chargers are the only team that's 2-2.
Yeah.
So everything is in front of them to get into the playoffs and make noise. You just got to get in, right? And I think once you get in, you can do some damage. But at the same time, I just don't know how they match up brain power-wise against a guy like Spags or DeMeco Ryans or John Harbaugh or, any of those guys.
It makes you feel better. Texans got destroyed by the Vikings. Destroyed.
Yeah,
I mean,
listen, what was it last year? Did the Ravens smash the 49ers in December?
Yeah, and then the Chiefs figured it out. Yeah, I know.
Get smashed sometimes, So it happens. But I just think that this team is good enough, especially with the state of the AFC. Think about this. If they win on next Monday, they're 3-3. They're in the division lead. They ensure that at worst, they split the season series with Buffalo, right? The best team next to the Jets in the division. You're 2-0 in the division, and you're 2-1 in the conference, right? Everything sets up nicely for you if you can win that game. So, not all is lost, but it's very frustrating to see the direction of the offense, and that really needs to be fixed. And I think that's our biggest thing is, can it be fixed with the people in place? I'm not so sure.
Yeah. I think we're all uncertain, and that's what really feels bad about these last 2 losses. There was an opportunity. I mean, if they were 4-1 right now, they'd be 4-1 right now,
They'd be 4-1. That'd be great, It'd
be sitting really great. You'd have some cushion.
It'll probably be an ugly 4-1, but it's still 4-1.
Listen,
yeah.
A win is a
Especially
win
with the field goal at the end and fucking beat the Broncos if they did that, right?
Well, a win is not a win is a win, though, because when we beat the Titans, we were saying, a win is a win. And I was saying, nah, that didn't look like a good win.
Yeah, but then the Patriots game was a fucking win.
That was a win. That was an actual win. But the Patriots have since revealed to be probably one of the worst teams in the NFL.
God, those Miami games can't come any sooner, right?
I mean, I wish they were coming sooner because we're going to have to face them with Tua and Mike McDaniel once Mike McDaniel has an actual functioning quarterback, he can actually scheme pretty well. Definitely well enough to beat our fucking sorry coaches.
Is there any other coach in the league that looks like they have a bigger drug problem than Mike McDaniel right now?
But the crazy thing is, he's completely sober, which is the crazy thing.
I don't know, man. Like
he's just got the Miami look to him with the curly hair now and the open shirts.
Himself, dude.
Yeah, he's
loving it. Last year he was enjoying himself,
Now he's really enjoying himself, maybe a little too much.
Anyway, do we want to share the little surprise for the people that like, comment, and subscribe?
Yeah, let's show it. Let's show it to them.
All right, y'all. So check this out. We partnered with Millions a little while ago, and we haven't really put much content on there because we've basically been doing everything through YouTube and also Spotify. And mostly people follow through YouTube, and we appreciate that. But now we got some swag.
We got merch.
We got swag.
Let's go.
We got swag.
Look at that hoodie is the best.
And I changed the prices, Bonnie, to round it up because people love the 99-cent thing. Like, as long as $29.99, The hat's pretty cool. I think if you can get into it, yeah. I mean, it comes in 2 colors. It comes in black, it comes in white, with the green, which is kind of cool, right? I can't get back into it. Oh, I didn't even click into it because it went to a separate tab. That's fucking stupid. All right, but it comes in black, and then it comes in white with green font, and then the hoodie comes in also white with that font, and then the t-shirt comes in gray also. I'm still trying to figure out everything there. It's pretty cool, and there is a link in our channel homepage so you can figure it out. If you go to millions.co/ and look up Laugh Through the Turbulence, you'll find us. All the money goes to me for now. And eventually I'll maybe we'll share with the peasants over here. Wow. Even though I'm the one sitting in a fucking basement right now. And actually, I'm gonna hot take. Since I've left the basement, things have gone very poorly for us.
So basement is.
Yeah, it should be like, remember that Bengals fan that stayed on his roof until they won a game, basically?
Yeah, I do remember
and
that.
they ended up beating us, after a bye
John,
week.
John, you can't leave the basement for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so bad down here. The temperature's pretty good.
You can't leave until the Jets win a Super Bowl.
Oh my god!
Dude, I'm gonna be here for that.
He'll die. He'll die down there.
I'm gonna die here, man. I'm gonna die here without seeing daylight. I don't have enough room to set up a golf simulator down here. I'd be fucking screwed.
If you made a rule like that strictly physical, I think he would have to be buried down there too, and would stay there for God knows how long, because they wouldn't even be able to take his corpse out of there, because that's how long.
Occasionally, I have to take out the little mousetrap corpses down here. God, one of them was fucking gross. This dude freaking started chewing his leg because he was stuck. It was fucking gross.
That's so sad.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, final thoughts.
All right, I'll go in. I am dying, absolutely, more than I've ever before. You see these teams, right, and their struggles and stuff like that. I am just absolutely dying to hear it either from another coach, or who's coaching right now, or from another player, or even from our own coaches who maybe get off the team. I'm dying to hear why and what the hell is going on, why we are so bad, how we are this talented and this bad, how we have first round picks and veterans all over the roster, and we're struggling against mediocre teams and losing winnable games. I'm dying to know why we can't ever be like the Vikings, 7-10 team last year, same coach, same OC, same DC as last year. We'll go from a 7-10 team. Their quarterback situation craps out with their rookie quarterback who was supposed to come in and be their savior. They end up with Sam Darnold, who is, who knows what Darnold was gonna be. All of a sudden now he's playing like Aaron Rodgers. And why is it that, our team just can't get the best out of our players? Why is it that, Tyron Smith doesn't let up a sack all last year? The guy's only 33. Can't tell me he's fucking washed already. Doesn't give up a sack all year. Now he's given up 2 already on the Jets. Rodgers, what happened to the, Rodgers is 90% win percentage when, he doesn't, when he has a defense that holds the other team to 17 or less points. That shit's already gone. He's already lost 2 games like that. He's never, ever thrown 2 picks in the first quarter of a game, ever in his entire career, 18 years in the league. But he does it when he's on the Jets. Why? All right. Why all the miscommunications? Why is Mike Williams not turning his head around? Why is Rodgers throwing the ball poorly? And why do we trade up for Corley and the guy can't even dress after 5 fucking games? I just have so many questions, way more questions than answers. And I want to know these answers by someone who has, insider knowledge. I'm dying to know, not Rossini, not Samini, not some other whatever Italian Jets, commentator name. I want to hear it from someone who has actual knowledge, inside knowledge of what the fuck is going on with this team. How can we be this terrible for this long, even though we're this talented? And I'm just so sick of it. And I think we get our ass whipped by the Bills now, and then our season starts after that game. And then we'll see what happens after that. Hopefully we can win enough games. I mean, you got to win 9 to be even considering yourself in the conversation of playoffs minimum. And really, you want to be at that 10 or 11 mark. I don't know. I mean, like, this seems like a 9-win team, 8-win team at this point. Like, we need to be 10. We need to be in the 10, 11 conversation to lock down playoffs. But, I'm just not seeing that yet. And I'm just at my nearly wit's end. And if we are still losing after this game with the Bills, which I'm pretty sure we will be, I think you have to at least fire Hackett to shake some shit up. Todd Downing, again, 12-5, and that was with only having 8 games worth of Derrick Henry, the ghost of Julio Jones, what's his name, Tannehill, not really amazing, but not bad, and underutilized AJ Brown. So they were able to do something there. So I'm like, maybe it can't be so bad. It can't be worse than this. It just can't be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think first, Monty, we know the answer to all of your questions, right? The answer to all of your questions is Hackett. There's no development. There's no plan. There's no ability to understand who to play, when to play them, right? We see it all the time. Why is Gibson on the field? He's not an NFL wide receiver. Why is he on the field, right? Like you said, you traded up for Corley, and they were talking about drafting him in the second round if they could get into the second round. And now you're not playing him, right? That's the answer. We don't need an insider with insider knowledge. We know the answer. It's the offensive staff is the worst staff in the NFL, and we have serious questions at the head coach spot.
Like, right? Just to real quick qualify, like when I say that, like, what about that though? Like, what is it about? Is Hackett just saying like, okay, go left when it was obviously that you should go right? Or is it something more nuanced than that? Like, I really want to know like a deep, like a Joe Blewett type of explanation. Sorry to cut you off.
No, and I agree, but I think that's what it is, right? If you look at everything Orlovsky is saying, if you look at what some of these people that break down film are saying, is the problem is that Hackett does not understand modern offense. He's an old school guy. So everything is static, no motion. The passing game isn't layered. The running game is just run it up the middle. Here you go, right? There isn't any pulling. There isn't any motion to trap. They don't run counters. They don't do anything special, right? They don't do anything to make the defense think before the snap. And if your offense is static, the defense just stands there and says, okay, we don't really have to do anything. And that's the biggest issue, right? Is you're not causing any chaos before the snap, right? And for me, that's the biggest thing, is that, you look at a guy like Andy Reid. Andy Reid reinvents himself every year. Sean McVay reinvents himself every year. These cutting-edge coaches go into the offseason, they go back to the drawing board. The Jets just say, this is what we do. No need to look at anything else, right? And it's like Andy Reid has said he's taken plays from custodians that come up to him in the facility and has used them in games, right? These guys are looking for an advantage and edge anywhere they can get it, except the Jets, right? Hackett is just like, well, this is my offense. Now I have Aaron Rodgers. His offense is literally the Aaron Rodgers bail me out offense, right? I saw another report where the Jets send Rodgers to the line with 3 different plays for him to pick the best one. Nobody does that. It's usually 2. One's a run, one's a pass, and you decide what side to run the play to and what the play call is going to be, right? The Jets are sending him to the line with 3 plays and saying, not only do you have to be the quarterback, but you have to be the offensive coordinator also. It's impossible to do that, right? So the offensive side is an absolute disaster and needs to be fixed. I'm in agreement with you. You know, after this Buffalo game, unless they win 51-0, you know, if they win this game 13-10, I want Hackett out as soon as possible, right? And I think the biggest mistake they made from the beginning is why on earth couldn't you just make Hackett the quarterback's coach? Then he could just caddy for Rodgers, hang out with him. They can play beer pong, drink in the locker room, be buddies, do whatever it is they do together, and let a competent human call the offense, right? So this has been the issue since the beginning. And yeah, I'm frustrated as well. But at the end of the day, everything I think is still in front of them. So just have to play out the rest of this season, take it one game at a time, and let's see what happens next week. And see if this time next week they're on the verge of being in first place in the division. That's all.
Oh yeah. And when asked about that in press conference, Saleh said not considering anyone else right now for calling plays.
Yeah, because I also think the problem is that Rodgers has to sign off on it. Right? They're not going to make that move unless Rodgers says, yeah, let's do it. And that's another thing about this thing. I mean, I love Rodgers, but he has too much power for a player.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm just you know what? Last time we went into a game with like zero expectation, and we'll do another episode. Also, like, comment, subscribe. Don't be a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And watch for longer than like a second. But I will say this. Maybe this was maybe a nice little wake-up call. Hopefully they fucking figure it out. If they don't, heads will roll. Because, I mean, the next two games, I mean, Bills are a little down right now, but that does scare me a little bit. They lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
That does scare me. Even though they lost to the Texans, who got destroyed by the Vikings, but also they had, I guess, no mix in that game. They couldn't run the ball. I don't know. I'm just, I just want to feel alive for once in my life, you know? I want pride when I fucking wear this shit around and this stupid fucking hat, and I got tons of more swag. And I ordered one of those starter black ones for the winter because I still go to the fucking games like an asshole. I keep going to these fucking games, dude. I didn't go to the UK game, and actually it was funny. My parents were in the UK and they were leaving Saturday, and they were like, they saw a lot of Jet fans and they were very excited. Well, they weren't excited to come back, right? That's a fucking trip. Thank God we didn't make that fucking trip. We almost made we talked about it as a group going to that game. Thank God we didn't fucking go to that game. Holy shit.
I would have been so pissed.
We've been raw pissed. But yeah, I mean yeah. I really hope they get it together. If they don't, heads are gonna roll. Luckily, the schedule does lighten up a little bit after this Buffalo game. Maybe this Buffalo game is a lighter game than we thought. Who the fuck knows? Yeah. Just fucking A. Read it.
Yeah, man.
Fuck the Patriots, fuck the Dolphins, fuck the Bills, and go fucking Jets.
Go Jets. Please.
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 Oh, we're begging. Please.